This conference will now be recorded.
Something was completed
When you hurt, you
third on
Canyon Hill.
You don't see any kind of redirect.
Thank you.
I, your Mayor Pro Tem, Tina Vargas, now call this City Council meeting to order. First up is our legislative prayer and pledge of allegiance.
Would you stand as able and join me in an invocation? Dear Lord and Father of us all, we come to you tonight to ask your guidance as the Sedalia City Council, Mayor Pro Tem, administrators, staff, and board members meet to hear about, discuss, and make decisions for the betterment of Sedalia, its citizens, the surrounding community. We are grateful for their service and dedication to our citizens. We ask your protection for all of our first responders, city and county, who work 24/7 to serve and protect us, often at their own peril. We are grateful to live in the United States of America, our constitutional republic, for which thousands have fought and died to create and preserve for these 250 years. We ask for protection for all of our military and civilians serving our great country today, here and throughout the world. And now as we leave tonight, please protect us and our loved ones. Keep us from harm until we meet again. And this is prayed in the name of our risen Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Robinson. Yes. Oldham. Here. Marshall is absent. Vargas.
Here.
Hiller. Here. Cross. Here. Foster.
Here.
Bliss. Here.
Thank you. We now have our public hearing. It's in regards to annexation from the Sedalia School District 200. Do we have anyone here tonight for that? Seeing that there's no one here, we'll close the public hearing. Now we have a presentation and a request from the embassy from Ms. Ann Graff.
Make this thing work here. Well, we wanted to come back and give you a little update on what's happening at the embassy. If you remember, we requested and were granted $50,000 last July to do some work on our two houses here in town. And this is our original request was $50,000. So far, we've billed the city $8,357.89, and I'll talk a little bit about what we've billed. And we have pending work still of $26,872. A lot of that got held up because of weather, because it's outside work. And that leaves the basement entry request that I'm going to talk about later. We've run into some problems with that basement entry, and I'll show you some stuff here. But what we've done right now is we've repaired the chain link fence, and we've completed part of that request. We've billed the city $2,730, and we still have to repair the chain link fence, but we can't complete that until we do the basement entry because we don't want to put the fence up and then you have to take it back down again. Then the other thing that we've done is the lift of section of floor and repair and remodel the laundry room. Those have both been completed, and we've billed the city $627.89 of the $7,000 originally requested. So we have a little left over on that one. This is just a picture of what the fencing looked like before and what the back of the house looks like now. We've cleaned up a bunch of rubble and removed a tree and done some stuff there, so it's really improved the look of the back of the house. Now, the things that's scheduled next month is to replace the soffit and fascia, and that work, like I said, is scheduled next month with the weather, hopefully getting better. We still have to schedule repair and storage of the shed and build a classroom, and those we have not scheduled yet. Now, here's where we ran into trouble. We originally estimated that the basement entry was going to cost us $13,000. We had, as we got into it and started tearing some stuff off the back, we found out we had a bunch of foundation problems. And we had the city inspector come over, and we had an architect draw some stuff up for us because this was going to be a little bit more of a problem. The other thing that we've added here also is a request to replace the roof at 302 West 7th. We've had weatherization in there. We were able to obtain some weatherization dollars from the Missouri Valley Community Action Agency, and we have to do some roof repair to get the weatherization done. And so when they started looking at that, we really need a new roof. So here's some pictures of what we ran into in the back of the building. And you can kind of see we've got kind of a mess here. You know, it didn't seem to make any sense to put a Band-Aid on this when we really have got to fix the whole thing. So this goes down into the basement. You can see we've got a lot of deterioration in the foundation. And then here's some blueprint photos from the architect. And so this is what it would look like when it was finished. And then so we're asking City Council to grant us an additional $100,000 funding through the opioid settlement to complete the work that we've described. Are there any questions?
Council, do you have any questions?
So the itemized was the basement remodel, the roof, and what was the other items?
Those were the additional.
And then
the basement entry was on the original. We
Right.
had way underestimated it. So the additional was the additional basement entry, and that'll include foundation work and siding and stuff that we didn't really even think about at the beginning.
Okay.
Anyone else have any other questions?
I have a question for Matthew. How much do we have?
I would have to look it up and see, because the last, I can't remember the dollar amount from the last time. I'm not sure that it was that much. I'd have to check with Jessica, so I don't have an accurate amount.
Okay, thank you.
And the opioid fund money is the only money that we would be using for this project.
Yes, that's correct. That's what we.
Yeah, and it's restricted to this type of service.
Correct.
Does the county help with that any?
The county only had about $3,000. We did go make a request of the county, and they had already given it to somebody else. We also have made a request at the state level for opioid funding. We're hoping to use it. If you remember when I was here last time, we've received a $2.5 million donation of a property out in the county. And that's why we went to the state, because we would use that money for that property.
Okay.
So the $100,000 you're asking for us is just for the house inside of city limits? Not
The 2,000.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I am going to suggest that you allow us to go back, look at the funds, and see what we have left in order to be able to assist you with whatever else you're needing at this time, if that's okay.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next is our retirement awards. Is Mr. Garrigus or Mr. Campbell here tonight? We have no service awards or special awards, and so now we need approval of our previous session meeting minutes from our council meeting on February the 19th and our budget work session from February the 24th.
Motion to approve in block. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We have no report of special boards nor commission and committees. So now we're going to our roll call of standing committees. And the first up is the Finance and Administration, and I will yield the floor to our Vice Chair in that department, Thomas.
Thank you very much. We only have 2 items underneath the Finance and Administration section. First one is going to be a presentation, and those are going to be the 2026 budget highlights. So, and I believe ACA Work will lead us into the conversation.
Okay, so last time we went through this document, there was some requested changes. Just a couple of things to review so that we make sure and kind of get back on the same page. So right now, our expenditures are over our revenues, or our revenues are under our expenditures, whichever way you like to say it. A couple of the things that were requested to add in, we did lighten the mood a little bit here by using MOB as requested. But the items that were added in were number 63, the Fast Rescue Board. Also then number 67, 68, and 69 were all voted in to add in here, this different training from the fire department.
I thought we only voted to add the training. I guess I misunderstood. I didn't think we voted to add the Fast Rescue Board.
I think I was kind of...
It was everything. What's your opinion, Tom?
No, I thought we just was the training of also.
Is that something you'd like me to remove?
I would be in favor of removing that, and if would you like me to make a motion to do
Please.
that? I'd like to make a motion to remove the Fast Rescue Board from this budget.
Second.
So a motion has been made and seconded that we remove line item number 63 from the general budget here. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Me.
One opposed?
Sounds like it.
Okay.
Okay, I'll remove that out of there and we'll make note of it. As you see, that did change slightly the final number here. And again, one of the questions posed was, what is the projected fund balance, which we kind of usually call reserves, and that is that figure right there that I've highlighted in green at well over $10 million. A couple of the other items that were discussed that you guys wanted to look at, and I'll go through those items that we discussed first, and then we can see if there's any other items that you would like to review or have any questions. So one of the discussions was drones as first responders. We had left that out in the recommendation, and we had talked about possibly reducing it. We did the best we could at coming up with a number for that. So that is a question there. Excuse me, if you'd like to view that. We also had some discussion that will come up again in the Capital Improvements Fund with the committal shelter. We had added in, there was a discussion if the shelter were to be added, that there would not be the need for the backhoe replacement. So that's also been added in as a choice. Again, those weren't added to the budget figures. They were just added in as choices for council to review. Something that we did have to discuss a little bit as well, something that came in here just at the last minute, and I apologize, is a decision. We have the opportunity to purchase long-term disability insurance for our employees, and that came in after this worksheet and everything was up and going this week, or last week, so we've put it in here as a decision. As you can see, if I click on that, that does affect our working model increase and updated total for the way we would project the year to be our expenditures to be over revenues. So that is it in and that is it out. So something to look at there. Again, any of these items that you guys would like to discuss or see, or if you would like me to scroll down through it slower, I know that it's a little bit harder to see the way it's set up. Is there any other questions or discussions with it in the general fund? And I can always move on and come back to this fund if that helps.
Yes, please.
Okay. Yes, I also, sorry, thank you for pointing that out, Jason. There was we did mark also the items that, it does not want to stay over there, that were requested to, review, and those are in, that is, I'm sorry, that was add the fire training officer and also the cemetery crew lead. Just for your clarification, those were requests made at the end of the meeting. In the transportation fund, where we sit right now, we didn't have any additions with that. Is there anything else that you guys would like to review or see changed in this? We're still sitting with the items, some of the larger items being the macro paver, the mosquito sprayer, and the skid miller. We also have some, the structure for the washing out trucks to meet our requirements, and then a shed roof repair.
I would like to look at let's see,
Number 40.
the new tables and chairs for the break room, and then also the split 50-50 for new office space and desk chairs. I think that, I understand why we might need those, but I feel like at this point, if we have extra, we need to put that towards streets for sure, and it doesn't look like we have a lot of extra right now. So I don't know if those are necessarily a necessity for this year. We have a lot going on that I think might trump that a little bit.
On the number 40, the macro paver, I think that is really important that we did pass that, because that's going to save a lot of money. It's going to save a lot of work. We did pass it, though, and that's good.
Yes, it is currently included in the budget draft. This is the new tables and chairs that was voted on to add in, line number 56 at $2,500, and then also at line 68, the split 50-50 with sanitation, new office space, desk chairs at $1,000. Those were added in the discussion last time.
So I would like to make a motion to remove those two items again, because I think that if we have even $3,500 to still stop some potholes, and I think residential roads can be a lot better.
Yeah.
Can I get a second?
Anybody seconding?
Second.
So we got a motion and a second to remove the $2,500 for the table and chairs, for the break room, and for the office space. So it comes to $2,600.
3,500.
I'm sorry? $3,500.
3,500.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Aye.
Roll call?
Robinson,
No.
Oldham,
No.
Marshall is absent. Bogus,
No.
Hiller,
No.
Cross,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Bliss. No. You have 5 noes, 2 yes, 1 absent.
So it stays in? Those two items will remain.
We had a request in that, again, from at the end, was the Neo Vision, to reconsider that. Apologize, I'll get there. That is line 36 and 37. And then also the gooseneck trailer for asphalt paver. So again, these two items in a total of $68,000, and then the 45 at the replacement. Getting there, sorry. There we go, 47 in the amount of $45,000.
So you're saying line 36 and line 40?
So the gooseneck trailer was requested, at the very end, these are just items that staff had came back up.
Oh, okay,
So I'm just highlighting
okay.
those. And then again, the Mio Vision. If there's any of that you'd like me to take a look at or check and see how it affects the budget, let me know. If not, then I
have a question on that gooseneck trailer. Don't they need that to haul the equipment with? Isn't that what I understand, that they're doing damage with what we've got, loading it?
So currently, right now with our lowboy, whenever we unload the, paver, yes, we are doing damage to the screed. The last quote that I had on getting one replaced, is about $35,000. So if we continue to damage the screed unloading it off the lowboy, we will have to put a screed on it.
That's what I thought. So really, I think that gooseneck trailer you have a truck that'll pull that, okay, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So the gooseneck trailer is specifically designed for a paver and asphalt equipment. It has a long ramp, it's a split deck, it splits over the axle, so it is about a 20-foot ramp that allows it to be a gradual fall instead of a hard break. And that's why we're damaging it whenever we unload it off of our lowboy. The ramps are only about a foot long and about 2 foot tall, so whenever it comes off, it is a hard break onto the road surface. We've tried modifying and making our on-ramps out of wood just so they're lightweight. But again, our paver weighs roughly about 45,000 pounds. So whenever, it doesn't matter what wood we use on it, we're destroying the ramps that we modify. Anything that we build to be heavy enough to handle the paver itself, we would actually do harm to our employees trying to load them and unload them off the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Can't trade in the old trailer that doesn't work?
the trailer that we're currently using, the trailer that we're currently using is a lowboy that's specifically designed for heavy, big equipment such as our miller. So if we traded in our lowboy trailer, we'd have no way to haul our miller. The gooseneck would be designed for the weight.
You're saying you're making 2 trips now?
Yes. Actually, we're making more than that, but yes.
But yeah, I mean, you're using the trailer for both the miller and the paver.
And as well as our drum roller. So the paver and the roller would be able to go on the.
Well, I mean, you can still keep making multiple trips. Is that trailer worth anything? The one that we have now?
Yes.
You want to keep it and do this, okay.
Yes.
Well, I'll make a motion that we put this in the budget because I think it's important that we take care of our equipment and get it to the job site and turn it up.
That's what it looks like if you add it in to the budget, so it's without it.
Scroll it so we can see the percentage, will you, Matt, when you do that? Thank you. So that runs the fund, am I reading? Fund balance goes to 40%.
No, it goes to 30.
Oh, that's the target fund balance.
Yeah, the target's 40.
I'm only seeing
Yeah.
part of what
So-
you're seeing.
Okay.
We've got smaller screens, I think, I don't know.
Does that help a little bit?
No other way.
Too far?
Too much.
I can reduce the size, but it may make it a little bit harder to see. Does that help you any? So if you notice, this is the item here.
So the actual fund balance, when that change occurs, is 34.1?
No, currently it's 34.1. When you add it in, it drops it to 30.
Okay, thank you. I just couldn't catch it.
If there's anything else or any other way you'd like to see it, let me know.
Tonight is not our final vote on the budget, is it?
Well, we have typically accepted the budget in that March 17th or that last regular session meeting in March.
So my question then therefore comes that if there's changes made tonight, we will come back and look at it at our next council meeting, or?
We can have a special session.
Opinion of the council?
Mr. Hiller has a motion on the floor.
I'll motion to put this in the budget.
Okay.
Trailer.
Okay, so we have,
Save our equipment.
so we have a motion that we put the $45,000 for the gooseneck trailer into, our funding. Do we have a second?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to add that into our budget. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
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 Poll the council.
Poll the council.
Robinson,
Yes.
Oldham,
No.
Marshall is absent. Bogus,
Yes.
Hiller,
Yes.
Cross,
Yes.
Foster,
No.
Bliss.
No.
You have 4 yes.
Here we go.
3 no, and 1 absent.
So it passes to put it back in, to add it to the budget.
Oh, it's a motion, it's not budget. Right. Okay. I kinda like to say something. I'm looking for $50,000 for that long-term care. That just showed up this time. And so that's the primary thing for me that I'm looking for. I just wanted the council to put that seed in their mind, that I think it's the employee side of it that's the most important.
The long-term disability.
So I'd like to find that $50,000 for that long-term disability
In the general fund?
without without reducing the percentage of the fund, yeah.
Okay. Anything else in the transportation fund?
So my concern with adding that in, everybody, is that when we add something in, we need to take something out. We have to find a balance here, and we are dipping into reserves again, and that is very concerning. So I know, I wish that we could get all of these things always, but we've got to pick and choose sometimes, and I think this is maybe the first time since I've been on council that we've gone this far into reserves, and it just concerns me, so, a lot.
I think we were making the same point. I'm concerned about getting that deep into the reserves too.
Do you have
Several
any,
things that put us into that position.
do you have any suggestions?
I mean, the thing that jumps out to me is that, micro paver. I know it's a good idea, but it's $430,000.
Yeah, but that could be residential.
Those are in different.
Well, we can,
Oh, yeah.
it still doesn't stop us from milling overlay.
Different funds, yeah.
Micro paving is another approach. And I'm not saying it isn't a good approach, and I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but I'm saying it may be something we can put off. But certainly that more than covers I thought it was $50,000 for the long-term care, but.
Well, and those are different funds.
Oh, it's a different fund, too,
Yes.
so we can't do that anyway. Yeah, I stand corrected, sorry. I got behind.
So, is there anything else in the transportation fund that you'd like to look at?
So am I correct that we would have to find something within the transportation fund that would equal that $45,000 to remove in order to keep that gooseneck trailer in? Is that correct?
Well, depending on where you want your target fund balance to be at. I mean, if we want to keep the target fund balance as close to 40%, then yes. I mean, it didn't affect it. You know, we went from 33 to 34%, but we are not at that target 40. And I mean, the policy is not there like there is in the general fund. So we have some leeway, but it's what you're comfortable in spending and what you're comfortable in the future. You know, as kind of discussed the other day, there are, years that you have to make those decisions of large capital expenses.
What I would be looking at is that once we do the budget later on in the year, we would come back and say, well, we need to amend the budget and add X dollars. So if we're saying now we don't have the X dollars, then where's that X dollars going to come from when we need to amend that budget? for something that came up that we didn't already put in here. So I think we need to look at that as well.
Okay. You're talking about, sticking with the budget and less budget amendments.
Correct.
Do you need to move on to the capital improvements fund?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the items that we are looking at that were discussed last time, the main one was the committal shelter and the additional bathrooms. So if we move up here to the committal shelter that you see at 23 and 24, so originally we had talked about $100,000 for that. This item was not included in the original recommendation, but we had also discussed a three-sided, and we took the figure that was originally discussed with a three-sided structure and placed that as another decision. Is there any questions that you have on that?
But we don't have an actual amount request yet as we speak tonight, correct?
No, we do not have a formal bid on that, no. The frame was not enough to get a formal bid in.
So we're still waiting on bids for that.
Roger, do you have any update on cost?
Where we were at with this last week when we discussed this is going back and removing the restrooms out of this facility that I had the $100,000 figure on. The bid that I'd had on this at some time back, an estimate for doing this, had been several months ago, 6-7 months ago. The price of steel, everything has gone up. We are still back in the ballpark of $82,000 in order to put in a facility. My recommendation at this point is let's look at this in another year and see where we're at. And I would rather do it the right way than to not do it, the way that it needs to be done. So that's my recommendation on that.
That sounds good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. In looking at that, can we take that? It's not checked.
It's not checked. We hadn't checked it along the way, but we wanted the request was to add that alternative in. The other request had been, or discussion had been on adding another $50,000. If you guys remember in the CBCD fund, there is money that committee had placed in their budget for bathrooms in the downtown area, and the discussion been to add a choice of adding an additional $50,000 on that. So currently, there's $50,000 in the CBCD fund for bathrooms, and this was a request for an additional $50,000 choice in the capital improvements fund to combine those together for $100,000 in bathrooms. So we've put that choice in there for discussion.
On the public bathrooms, in talking with some of my constituents, they seem to think that we have plenty of bathrooms downtown. We've got one at the police station. We got one at the county office there. And they just felt that that was something that we did needed, and that money could be used more for roads and sidewalks and alleys rather than having a restroom downstairs. And there's also restrooms right here at the City Hall. So they felt that we had plenty of restrooms without having to build a special one.
And we did say that we needed to look into exactly how much that was going to cost before we made that final decision to do it. So, is council okay with us removing that item? We didn't really add it, but,
Continuing on without it.
continuing without it, yes.
I am.
Is council all right with that, or do you want to?
Do we need a motion to take that out?
No,
It's not.
It wasn't in.
All right.
We were just, it's working.
So the other items, if you have any discussion or question on that, many of these items are the projects that were ARPA funded, continuing on and carrying on through this fiscal year. And then some of the other things that we had added in were streets. And if you guys remember, we had added specifics to the ones that we have been awarded a grant for from the county infrastructure grant, and then we had put in the bulk amount on micro paving to see how far we could stretch that money once we get their recommendation on the streets. You guys remember also there had been a map that they have given to us with that data and that ranking. Again, that's in a draft form at this point. Once we get the more formal data and we've got the budget accepted, we can really put together a program. The goal with it is to get a 5-year plan and try and look at our funding levels and work towards getting rid of, if you remember, red and yellow was the worst colors. And those are the colors that we obviously want to get rid of off the map and get as much green as possible.
And most of those are concentrated in residential areas, too.
Those are a lot of that. On a positive note, we have been told that the macro paving can help that because those streets may not have the semi trucks and really heavy trucks going up and down them every day, and might be able to stretch that dollar further in those.
Yeah, I think the residential is very important.
So I still want to know, talk a little bit about mill and overlay versus micropaving. But
You want to start?
it's just, yeah, let's see here. He was hiding behind the door.
Sorry, I could barely hear what you said. What was the question?
Well, so micropaving versus mill and overlay and how one doesn't replace the other, is what I think I'm hearing you guys saying.
So one of the major differences between mill and overlay and micropaving is we can continue to mill if there's like failed surfaces such as 16th Street with the chip seal that's failing on there. We can mill that chip seal off and do a micropave. It's more or less a collaborative of chip seal, slurry seal, and then adding different concrete blends and as well as asphalt blends into it, emulsion oil. So it makes a harder surface. So this is a 15-year repair.
So this takes the place of chip and seal, and it really doesn't take the place of mill and overlay.
Correct. So chip and seal is like the bottom of the list, the cheapest that you can get.
Right.
Macro paving is going to be kind of middle of the road, and then mill and overlays are going to be your total replacement for superficial.
I hate to admit it, but I can't really wrap my head around how we've changed since we bought the paving machine and the milling machine, how much we've replaced chip and seal with mill and paving. It seems like we've done more.
We haven't laid chip and seal out in almost 5 years.
Yeah. I couldn't remember offhand any chip and seal.
Something to consider is mill and overlay is the most expensive choice for paving. So the idea with the macro paving is again, when the surface isn't at that level of mill and overlay, or there's sections of it, you can stretch the dollar further.
Yeah, I get it, but we've got all kinds of places in Sedalia where the curb has disappeared. And that's an issue too. And we can only fix that with milling, right? Or building new curb.
Correct.
And it's a lot bigger problem than I think a lot of people realize. So I'm sitting here flying at 50,000 feet trying to drive us to the point where we replace some curb too, or we get the reservoir along the side of the street back by milling down and getting that low spot there so that we don't drive down 3rd Street and it's covered from side to side with water when it rains. We need to really start working on those curbs and that drainage too.
Whenever we do a micro paving project, we can still mill. So
Okay, so it will work. That was kind of what I was getting at. It will work over milling.
Yes, we can do a tapered mill into the roadway and increase the crown, decrease the crown, build the road back correctly with our mill,
And then whenever we do the macro paving, we're gonna be adding superficial back to it, and that will help bond it and seal the road as well. So a lot of the issues that we have is we have alligator cracking, we have a lot of, major cracking that's occurring on the roadways, which is allowing water to infiltrate and get into the base. Whenever that happens, that's where we get the failures.
Do you think we need a curbing machine?
At this point, no. I don't think that we're quite ready for that, but I think we're getting pretty close to that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir?
Good
Yes, sir.
answers. Don't go hide behind the door again.
Is there any items that you would like to see placed in or out of the budget at this point? Would you like me to move on to the CBCD fund?
Yes, please.
Okay, again, this is the budget as requested by by their board, by the CBCD board. And, we didn't make any changes to it. Is there anything that you would like to see, additions or subtractions? And that is their, projected fund balance.
Any suggestions from the council?
Would you like me to go back to the general fund?
Do we need to go back to the general fund, council?
I made the comment that I'd like to look for funding for that long-term care, and we kind of scratched through there, but I guess I'd poll the other council, if anybody else is. I would like, as Councilwoman Foster pointed out, our fund balance is, I think we need to take something out before we add something back in. That is the thing, that long-term disability insurance for employees is something you said just appeared, we hadn't had that in line.
We had it in the
I'm kind of surprised it wasn't.
in the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we work through it, it's just a situation where we just didn't have it in there yet.
Okay. Well, I mean, we've got a lot of people that do a lot of dangerous things.
If we add it back in, or add it in, I'm sorry, this is
I
where...
guess that's, okay, let's add it in and see, now you've got to scroll so I can see the fund.
Sure, so here it is without it, okay? We've got all the fund balances there, and so then if I add it in, this is where it takes us.
Takes it to 57.3.
57.3%.
Whoa, I'm too old.
Would you like,
Okay.
I can
All
take
right,
it
well,
back, so here it is without it.
0.6 to 0.3. Or is it, no, it's 57.6 to 57.3. Okay, so it's 0.3%. I would say add it. I would also make a motion we add it and let my fellow city council people add their 2 cents worth or ask for a second and see if we vote on it.
So a motion is on the floor to add the long-term disability insurance for our employees. Do we have a second?
If you'll spell it correctly, I'll second it. Oh, is it, no. Matt, I was trying to get this done and you got an extra F.
Sorry, last minute.
Okay.
So there's a motion and a second to add the long-term disability insurance for the employees. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So be it. It's
Thank
added.
you. I'm done.
Is there any other items that you would like to look or, remove? I'd be happy to. If you tell me what item it is or anything, I can go to it, or I can continue to scroll as we discuss some of these items.
So go back, please. What is that alternate to start with one location?
That was the drones with first responders.
Okay.
That was, we were asked to get to give an alternate with doing half of the program with one location.
Okay, instead of the 115, go to
Right.
175.
Right.
I brought that up, so I'll let you check it and let the council vote for it, but I really, pretty much done. The long-term care was my primary thing. And I guess Chief Woolley could come up and speak again. I think it's really important. I think it's a way that we can start to address the problem that we've had with regard. It helps our officers. It's a new way to police. It gets people on site quickly. Even if we don't have full coverage in the city for a year, we still have experience with it. So I was willing, late in our session last time, to say, but I'll leave it to Chief Woolley and let him talk about it. He may not want to.
Well, a couple of thoughts on this. One, I kind of agree with Roger with looking at the budget. I mean, we would be okay with going for this again next year. It is still cutting edge in Missouri. I believe one other municipality is using it in Ferguson and having good results with it. We do have a third option that is a possibility. We have an existing drone that we can put that technology on and get the live 911 and still have that. It just wouldn't self-launch from the rooftop. We would have to go and launch it like we do now, but the technology would allow us to fly it out of sight and have that drone safe if something was to happen with the parachute to catch it in case of an emergency or something like that. And that cost would be $29,500 roughly. But
would you want to, I'll make the motion for that if you think that would be beneficial for us and be a beginning of drone type of coverage for our community.
It would be a first step, and it would also get us the live 911, which I really would like to have available to officers as well. So I think there's some value there.
$29,500?
$29,500, yes, sir.
I have a question, Chief.
Yes.
Is it possible for us to find a grant that would help pay for this?
We have some drone grants that I believe we've had one that we've been waiting on for a couple of years that we've been awarded. The money just hasn't been released. So that might be a possibility too. I would have to look at that grant and make sure that everything would cover, but that is a possibility. I think, Matthew, do you remember on that grant?
We wrote it for a specific drone, so I don't know that it would cover that. That was when I was still police chief, and it was a specific drone. I don't know if they would allow us to change it. That grant went on for, it's probably at least 2 years at this point.
It is. It's aged. And it was an American drone, I think, that it had to be, and the one that we have and the ones
that was the contention, and it was related.
The Chinese drones are better, and that's, but it was a U.S. contract, so that was a stipulation.
So just for some of the people that weren't here in the budgeting process initially, you know, these drones go out, they put a presence on top of a bad situation quickly. They put eyes on it.
Yep.
At one point you said they could even there was one type that would actually say stop, or you might be able to communicate with people on the ground.
Well, the communication would be through the pilot via the radio to the units responding.
So it gets our units, if they know someone draws a gun, we know they drew a gun.
Yes. And if they flee the scene, we'd be able to know what they're getting in, where they're going. It would get us eyes on the scene within a minute, roughly, or hopefully less, depending on the situation. And we could have eyes on the scene before the call's even dispatched and officers en route is the biggest value.
So we have two items that are on the floor right now. We have a motion that says to purchase that drone, and then we have the chief saying, let's hold off for a year and see where we go.
Yeah, I think my impression was we're not going to do the $75,000 alternate. There's a possibility we could do a $29,500 purchase. So I'll make a motion for $29,500 to purchase this, to get this started, because it gives our police experience with this. I think it will add to our public safety, and we'll go from there. We'll see if we can get a second and see if we can get a vote.
So we have a motion on the floor to do the $29,500 for the alternate to start with drones. Do we have a second for that?
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll move forward with that.
Okay, I put it in there as you, requested. So if you see the changes in it there,
Let's scroll, because I can't see percentages. But it's gonna be 57 something still, isn't it? Yeah. 57.1, okay. I'm not going below 57.
are there any other items that you would, like to discuss or review or have me change or check?
Any other input from the council? Hearing none.
Okay.
All right, moving on to the second item. The second item goes on with some of the east side development that we have going on, and the next step in that construction process is the construction of the fire station, the fire training center, the aqua center, the bowling alley, just to approve the construction manager. When we sent out RFQs, the most qualified that came back was Naples Construction. Tonight, we need to approve that agreement for the construction manager at risk.
And there are, representatives from them if you guys have any questions for it.
We do have representatives there tonight. Is there anything that you would like to add or let us know? Okay. So we're going to call for the ordinance for the reading.
Bill number 2025-31, an ordinance authorizing an agreement for construction manager at risk for the Sedalia Fire Aquatics Bowling Project.
Second reading?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, can we have an amount?
They want to know the amount.
So it's based on a percentage it's based on a percentage
Okay.
and also then a, monthly fee if I remember right. Yeah. Would you like those?
Yeah. Never mind, I got it here, thank you.
Okay.
I think we're going to continue.
You release?
Yeah.
Okay. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Call for the second reading.
Bill number 2025-31, an ordinance authorizing an agreement for construction manager at risk for the Sedalia Fire Aquatics Bowling Project.
Final passage.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Bliss.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Oldham.
Yes.
Marshall is absent. Bogus.
Yes.
Hiller.
Yes.
Cross.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Okay, you have 7 yes, 1 absent.
Thank you.
And that's all under finance and administration.
Thank you. Now we go on to, Public Works.
I have nothing tonight.
Thank you. On to Public Safety.
Public safety needs, an ordinance authorizing a grant application for the police department for hazardous moving violations. That is, an amount of $134,000 plus. Chief Lori says that there's a lot of competition for that grant, so we may not get it, but we need the ordinance to apply for it.
Okay. So call for the reading of the ordinance.
Bill number 2025-32, an ordinance authorizing a grant application for hazardous moving violations.
Second reading?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, Chief, come up for a minute. I have in my notes here, the grant is for $134,000,
Sir.
and we pay $10,000?
No, the 10,000, I think that's for, DWI.
Okay, so it's two different grants,
Yes.
okay.
It's not a matching on this one.
Okay, well, I just,
Really? Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Call for the second reading.
Bill number 2025-32, an ordinance authorizing a grant application for hazardous moving violations.
Final passage?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Robinson?
Yes.
Oldham?
Yes.
Marshall is absent. Bogus?
Yes.
Hiller?
Yes.
Cross?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Bliss.
Yes.
7 yes, 1 absent.
We have an additional grant application that needs an ordinance. It's for, $10,700 for DWI enforcement.
Call for the reading of the ordinance.
Bill number 2025-33, an ordinance authorizing a grant application for DWI enforcement.
Second reading?
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Call for the second reading.
Bill number 2025-33, an ordinance authorizing a grant application for DWI enforcement.
Final passage?
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Oldham.
Yes.
Marshall is absent. Bogus.
Yes.
Hiller.
Yes.
Cross.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Bliss.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
7 yes, 1 absent.
Thank you. Going on now to community development.
We just have one item this evening, and it's a presentation, and I would please like to call Jolie up.
March here.
Good evening. It is time to talk about the Bixler clock. This clock has witnessed generations of Sedalians grow up since 1882. Thank you to Mr. Robert Walters and Mr. Mark Callis for working together to see the Bixler clock return to downtown Sedalia. If the following resolution is approved by City Council, the City of Sedalia will accept a restricted donation from Mr. Walters. In turn, the City of Sedalia will purchase the Bixler clock from Mr. Callis and take responsibility for moving the clock downtown and maintaining it in the future. We always say downtown Sedalia is the heart of our community. We want to thank both of you wonderful people for letting us hear the actual heartbeat of our downtown through the tick of the Bixler clock. Thank you very much.
Call for the reading of the resolution.
Resolution 2128, a resolution accepting a restricted donation for the purchase of the Bixler clock from Bixler Jewelry.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Under other business, we have two appointments, reappointments for Galaxy West Community Improvement District. Mr. Tim Harris, 4-year term expiring March 21st, 2028, and Mr. Kelvin Shaw, 4-year term expiring March 21st, 2028.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Motion's been made and second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We have no liquor license. Do we have anything from the city council or city administrator?
I'm proud of Councilwoman Foster. I thought it was a good article in the paper. Mr. Croft did a good job too. We've got a responsibility to really explain what's going on, and I think it did a good job.
Amen.
So good job, Foster. And there's also a bunch of, I do have some experience in asbestos and some background in that, so there's been some concern from several people expressed to me about the recent tear downs and asbestos. I just want everybody to understand there's a couple kinds of asbestos, friable and encapsulated or fixed asbestos. Friable is the asbestos that actually breaks out into the air, can contaminate the air, and certainly every time we tear something down, we should check that. But I looked at things today, looked at several different buildings today that were torn down. When we tear down a building, there's going to be dust. But all of us every day are exposed to asbestos. All right, it's in baby powder, it's in brake liners, it's in a variety of different things. And so I really don't think
the sky is falling. I don't think there's any great concern. I think we've got some approaches that we'll take that will, that we could do, that we should do if we check things before we do a tear down. But, I really think, the best thing to do here is for everybody to understand that, or at least from my experience, there's nothing friable. A lot of these buildings that we tear down, could or could not have asbestos, and we'll check that, I think, in the future. But, the thing that we need to do at this point in time is get some reports back and really know what happened, and be calm and not worry too much about it.
Thank you, Councilman Bliss, and we have and are on that, getting, information.
Sure, yeah, that's where we're at, so.
Okay, all right. I'd also like for someone to address I've heard several that have been concerned about the water line breaks and, concerns over the city not having, boil orders in place, after those, water lines broke.
William has actually gone to a conference to be able to address that, so I'll do the best I can. A boil order is something that the Department of Natural Resources issued. Our water department, when there is a situation where there's potential, they can issue a boil advisory. Then they test the water that they are issuing the boil advisory over, and we have a lab and we test that and we submit that to the Department of Natural Resources. There's been some confusion. My understanding of what I've been told is that hasn't been issued citywide or a lot of information. They know the network enough. They hang door hangers on the residences that it affects. So that is the notification method. That way, those that aren't affected aren't confused by it. And there also many times they are able to make the repairs without even shutting the water off. They have a special clamp that goes around the pipe that doesn't allow or doesn't make them shut the water off. So I've seen them do it. It is surprising how they do it. They're able to pump the water out, keep the flow going, and as long as the flow goes over 20 psi, they're able to make the repair without having to shut the water off. But they do test for it. But again, the only one that we're aware of that can issue a boil order is the Department of Natural Resources. We can do advisory.
Okay, so in a nutshell, the city does not make that decision. DNR does, and it tells the city what to do.
They would tell us to do it, correct.
Okay, all right, thank you, appreciate it. Any other council members? Okay. Hearing none, we'll go to our good and welfare section. During the good and welfare section of our meeting agenda, we invite residents of Sedalia to step forward and directly address the city council. Each participant is requested to clearly state your name and address, and you will have 3 minutes to present your statement. This session is specifically designed for residents to express their views or concerns. It is not intended for dialogue, debate, or question and answers. All statements made during this time will be formally recorded in the public record, and we urge participants to keep their remarks respectful and focused on matters relevant to our community. Your contributions are a vital part of our continuous efforts to enrich and improve Sedalia, and we thank you for adhering to these guidelines in helping us maintain the decorum of this important session. So, anyone having something to say, if you would step to the podium, give your name and your address, please.
My name is Gary Obaugh. I live at 821 South Arlington Avenue in Sedalia, Missouri. I got one point here. As Ms. Bodgers is the mayor tonight, right?
Yes, sir.
Then the roll call vote asking you to vote when you don't vote as your mayor, how's that acceptable?
I vote as
Is
a
that
second.
legal? Could you can wear 2 hats at a city council meeting when you're mayor. You can vote? Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Another thing is, I'd like to have some information on how the tiny homes are coming. I mean, nobody's giving any reports. We've got a lot of applications for them. Is there any building going on over there? I'd just like to have some information on that. Another thing I'd like to know is has all the contamination been removed from the site where we're gonna have a bowling alley and a water park? Is there tiny little elves out there at midnight doing it, and then they just fix it back in the morning? Because I haven't seen anything going on over there. So is the contamination been cured? We have a report saying that it has been cured, so we go ahead and remove all this stuff for the fire and for the bowling alley and the water. Is it still contaminated? Okay, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Corey City, 1804 South Park. Quick note on the asbestos in the baby powder cost Johnson & Johnson millions of dollars in litigation. When it's in the siding, when it's on pipes, it gets pulled apart by a backhoe, it's no longer encapsulated. On the drone investment, does anybody watch the news? Congress right now is looking at banning new Chinese drones purchases. So we're going to purchase technology for a Chinese drone. So if we need to replace it, need to purchase a new one, we may not be able to in the near future. Settlements with the city. I've been tracking a lawsuit against the city from a homeowner whose house was demolished. Just this week it was removed, so I know some sort of settlement was reached. And from reading the suit documents, she alleged the very things that I and many other people have complained about for months. So when we're told citizens are lying and it's disinformation, why would the city settle? And why wasn't it brought up, disclose the amount at the meeting today? It is nice to see we're going to remove some budget items and focus on the roads. It's positive. Also have a question. Does the city regularly spend taxpayer dollars to pay for the expungement of a criminal record of a non-citizen? Because I've seen the receipts, and the city spent hundreds of dollars. Library Law did research. Steve, I'll send you the invoice.
No, I like the word expunction.
Well, that's what it was, expunge. Also, did any of the dispensaries in town file for an exemption on sales hours? Because in the city code, it's from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and at least one is open past 8 p.m., looking to be open till 11 p.m. Oh, cool, we got one more minute. Okay. Also, is it the regular practice of the police to not have a paper copy of a warrant when they are purportedly serving said warrant? The wrong address, similar names, many other mistakes could cost the city thousands or millions of dollars. So I think we can start doing it. It's a state statute, serve a warrant, provide a copy. Let's see what else we got here. Also, just talking to them out there about the size of our road crew. Our road crew would be the size of a small paving company, and I think if you ask somebody if a small paving company could handle the roads of a city of our size, they would laugh at you. So when these guys are less than a normal road crew, plus they're responsible for many other duties, it's really hard, I think, to justify spending money on road equipment that we're not even going to use to our fullest capacity. Because, I mean, I heard you guys talk about it. Previous equipment is now almost outdated. You know, there's a new type of road, and we don't have the equipment to use it, so the past equipment has to be traded in or something like that. Thank you.
Good evening. Renee Vance, 19813 Tanglewood. I'm here tonight to give your March Madness for...
I'm sorry, Renee. Can you speak up just a little bit?
This is for the March events that we have going on at our senior center. The Spud Sale is our big one here in March. It is on the 17th. We do have order forms out. We will deliver if there are 5 or more orders to a business or home, I guess, if you guys want to do that for lunch. But the orders will be taken, finished on Wednesday, March 12th. That's when the last orders need to be in, so we can order enough potatoes and all sorts of stuff. It is still $12, and you'll get a cookie along with it. Michelle's got the order forms at the center if you need any. Also, this month, we've got our fried chicken on the 3rd Thursday and fried fish on the 2nd Friday, for those of you who are like that. And I will try to give my silver-haired rep meeting notes next month, or next council meeting.
Thank you.
Debbie Covington, 2601 East 12th. All I've heard for the past year is public safety, public safety. If public safety was important to each one of you, you wouldn't allow approximately a couple hundred homes to have been destroyed by the city of Sedalia without proper asbestos and lead testing, Steve. Over the last few years, city workers, police officers, citizens of Sedalia, truck drivers, and employees of the local dump have been at risk. DNR stepped in and confirmed, the city of Sedalia, have not been operating in a manner that is safe to the public, and you got shut down. That's not public safety. You kick an elderly couple out of their home on 325 North Stewart for them to live on the street or in their car. That does not sound safe. You allowed the same house to remain vacant for 9 months while squatters ran in and out, tore the house up, left windows and doors open for it to dilapidate rapidly. That is not public safety. Breonna Foster and Brian Cox, you used your position of power to influence Chris Howell with the Sedalia Democrat to publish an article full of lies and misinformation, an entirely different type of abuse to the public health. The same with Tom Oldham, using his position to exploit an elderly man and aid in the continued degeneration of a family unit and a relationship between a father and son. The same when it comes to Jack and Cynthia Lewis and their property on Main, slapping a dangerous building sign on their front window, yet a qualified, experienced structural engineer states in black and white the building is safe. Speaking of the same building and owners awarded the Paul Broom grant over 2 years later with a deadline approaching, your friends are taking care of, and they are not. But a sitting city councilman, Chris Marshall, who's absent, who bought a building from the city of Sedalia, awarded federal grant money with the back wall of the building getting ready to buckle in and fall down. Yet it remains standing, and not one appearance from Chris Marshall in front of the Board of Appeals or a threat of demolition. This is not about public safety. What about Juan at 119 South Stewart? You all plowed his house over last Wednesday. He was actively working on it, had no idea you were coming to demolish it, yet across the road you have a house falling apart, windows falling out, yard full of junk, a pool with no fence around it, and nothing being done. Again, this isn't about public safety. The amount of loss, stress, pain, and anxiety you've caused numerous citizens in Sedalia is appalling. An attempt to push out a group of people, their businesses, and their homes that apparently do not live at your standards or aren't your friends. The reality is public safety is a facade for you all to hide behind. Greed and power has overcome the city administration and our elected officials. I truly believe there is a human way to operate city and code enforcement department, and until I see it, I will keep demanding the city of Sedalia finds it. God willing, there is a better way.
Harry Hofer, 1408 South Barrett. I look up here, and I'm going to tell all of you, I look at Uber, Works, all of you. There's change coming, and there's going to be questions asked. And by damn if I'm not going to respond when somebody steps to this and asks a question. If I win, I'm going to talk. Nobody's going to silence me. Nobody wants that. And when you're a fourth ward, third ward, second, you're the voice for the city, not just your ward. So all of you should care about every ward in this town. Tom, you disappointed me when you brought Riney's dad into the thing. If you can't beat him fair, man, just take a whooping. If I get beat and I can take a whooping, that's fine. But I won't be quiet. I mean, it's like you guys have, I talk to you guys and you say you're going to do one thing, but then you completely flip tracks and you vote for something else. You know, I know you go upstairs, and I know you got the sheepdog working on you and telling y'all that, you know, what you can't say and what you shouldn't say and why you shouldn't talk back. That was obvious when Tom said something, and Luther come up and found that was wrong. So I'm sure somebody said, hey, don't say nothing. We don't need to get caught in a trap. Well, this question's going to be asked. This question's going to come. And the city of Sedalia, the citizens, need to know that the people they vote in here are going to ask questions. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm going to piss everybody off. Whether it's council, whether it's the fire, whether it's the police, whether it's the citizens. You can't make everybody happy. But you can be transparent, you can be compassionate about something, and man, I'm telling you, when you can't get contractors come work on somebody's house, then how is somebody supposed to get something done to a house? You know, I'm here for the 40-plus hour a week guy that can't figure out in a single mom, do I do this and get fined and get my porch painted or get these boards put on, or you know, put food on the table for my daughter or my kid to go to school? You know, there's got to be some type of, we don't work together anymore. You can look on Facebook and you can see that. You can look on this meeting. You all don't want to respond to anybody. And I don't know if that's because the law firm has told you not to respond, or if maybe you don't want to respond. By God, I will. And I think it's going to change, and I think a lot of people are going to be upset. But it's coming. Thank you.
My name's Jan DeGode. My house was just demolished, 119 South Stewart. I just want to let you know, this whole year I was trying to work with the city. I was sent out here by a pastor to take care of some of his investment properties, and I was able to get one for myself. I was hoping to live out here. I've been here 3.5 years. I'm from California. But my boss had some problems, and he could no longer keep me busy with the houses he was doing. He was going back and forth, so I had financial problems. And I didn't have the money that I originally had when I came out here, so I was not able to work on my house and buy materials. I did what I could. You know, I took apart, ripped out all the old plaster on the inside. It was all ripped out. I was at the point where I needed to put my electrical and my plumbing in, and that's the part where I ran out of money. But I tried to work with the city. I'm just letting you know, I don't remember all the names. There was new inspectors that came in. There was the original meal, then another meal came in, and each time they pointed out different things. And like when I thought I had one thing covered, then they called out another thing. And I was just overcome with not having enough money. Toward the end, when I finally I saw some red letters on my door saying they were going to tear my house down. I guess they gave up on me. And even my pastor at Abundant Harvest Church, they were willing to give me the money, you know, to finish my house. It was going to be about $40,000. And when I called days before they began the demolition, they wouldn't have it. They just like made a decision, said, no, your house is going down. You know, so I'm standing here because I don't feel that that's right. I'm an American citizen. I pay my taxes. I'm a God-fearing man. You know, I'm not a troublemaker. I came over here to try to start a new life. At first it was just work, but because of my church and my friends, I wanted to stay here. I liked it. But this situation here, that's got to stop, you know, because I've heard a lot of stories from other people, and I just want to bring that before you in consideration of what people are going through. And I'm not somebody that had a lot of money, and for me to get that money and to get a house and be happy that I could work on it as I could, and to live there and bring my wife out from California and whoever else, but that was shattered. That was taken away from me. I've been in construction for 30-some years, and California, as crazy as California is, I've never seen that done before, where they just take somebody's house away from them, you know, regardless. You know, they'll cite you, clean up your house, stuff like that, but I've never seen them demolish a house like that. But I'm just a little puzzled and just want to bring that before you.
Good evening, Council. Dwayne Dixon, 906 Sylvia. I've lived here for a long time myself, and it seems like I'm finding different rules all the time. And a rule that really has come up to me just recently, and I don't come to you guys unless it affects me or my family. And this is affecting us. I have an inspector come out because I want to expand my driveway. And I said, hey, I'm going to get the property pins put to where I'm on my own property, but I'd like to dig this out and compact it for a while. I want to put rock in it. And he said, well, what are you talking about putting? And I said, drive on it for a while. He said, no, the ordinance says any off-street parking got to be paved. Okay. So then our property up here, I wanted some off-street parking. And I said, what about commercial? Same thing. You can't just rock it. You got to pave it. So I got that from the inspection department. So to me, guess what, guys? I'll do it, but I want the playing field to be equal. This playing field that these guys out here talking about, it's not equal. Because I've been watching for a year and said nothing because it didn't affect me. I could give a damn less, but when it affects me, I care, okay? What I don't understand is, you guys are representing us out here. You guys should be going by the same rules that I gotta go by. Why do we have a councilman got somewhere in the neighborhood, 5,000 square foot parking in a solid rock and has been for a year? Now, you guys don't want to hear us up here bitching and complaining, but just put us with the same playing field that you guys are on. That's all I want. And we've got a lot going on, more than behind the scenes, because your representation is very familiar with my name. And with that being said, I'll play the game with you guys. And I don't have the deep pockets today Missouri's got, but I might want a little piece of the pie one of these days from you guys, because you guys ain't playing the same field that you're making me play. So what I'm saying is, I want to be able to put rock in my off-street parking. I want to put rock on the off-street parking in my house. And if it can't happen, then I'm going to do it, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm looking for consequences. Because if you guys give me consequences, and the councilman don't get consequences, by God, I'll guarantee we'll be in court. Have a good night. Thank you.
Hi.
I want to find out tonight who is the councilman that's got 5,000 square foot of rock pavement, unpaved parking lot, and give him some consequences.
Hi, my name's Janet Mazansky. I live at 723 East 5th Street. Steve, it's real nice for you to sit up there and try to save face for the city over the asbestos and all the other stuff. Tina Bogus, I know you don't own your house, but you have violations yourself that you could have your landlord to fix. You should be cited, or your landlord should be cited, just like everybody in this room is cited. And sir, I'm sorry they tore your house down. It's almost got me in tears. That is the horriblest thing. I don't know how you people sleep at night. I really don't. And I watched today a video of the Sedalia Police Department breaking into the house because the guy was not there to answer his door, and trust me, that video went to the Attorney General's office today. By many people. We're fed up with the way that you all treat people in this city. We're tired of it. Election time is coming. Trust me, boots are on the ground, and we're going to make sure that you all are voted out and new people are brought in here. I don't care if it's the mayor or whoever. I'll never see you sitting in that seat because we'll do everything that we can to get you out too, because you're above the city codes, because you don't own your house. Well, you know what? Maybe we should just all start driving around all y'all's houses and give y'all some code enforcement violations like we all get. I'm sorry that you all treat the disabled and the elderly people the way in this city that you all treat them. They are the people that built this city. I hope you can't sleep at night. I really do, because I don't know how you do. It's heartbreaking.
Anyone else?
Seeing no more, I move to a closed door session for legal advice, real estate, negotiations with employee groups, and negotiated contracts.
Second.
Motion's been made and second that we move to a closed door meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
You need roll call, Madam Mayor.
Roll call.
Robinson? Yes. Oldham?
Yes.
Marshall is absent. Bogus?
Yes.
Hiller? Cross?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Bliss?
Yes.
This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, we need a motion in a second, and then roll call.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Who made the motion? I'm sorry, I did not hear it. Okay. Councilman Foster made the motion.
Second.
I'll second it, or
Yeah.
Tom can second it.
Councilman Oldham seconded. All in favor?
And you need a roll call.
Roll call.
Robinson?
Yes.
Oldham?
Yes.
Marshall's absent. Bogus?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Cross?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Bliss?
Yes.
We have one ordinance to bring back tonight.
Bill number 2025-34, an ordinance authorizing a development agreement by and between the City of Sedalia, Missouri and Highway H Property LLC.
Second reading.
Second.
Motion, sorry, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Call for second reading.
Bill number 2025-34, an ordinance authorizing a development agreement by and between the City of Sedalia, Missouri and Highway H Property LLC.
Final passage.
Second.
Motion's been made and second, any discussion? Roll call?
Marshall is absent. Bogus?
Yes.
Hiller?
Yes.
Cross?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Bliss?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Oldham?
Yes.
7 yes, 1 absent.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's made and second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.